Good evening and welcome to a very special edition of DegenWrestling. For starters, we're both in the same place.
Yeah, Nathan had to get away. His mom tried to poison him this morning.
Actually, several times over, you know, you've heard of, the McMahon screwing Austin. You heard about Brett screwed Brett, that sort of thing. No, I had the worst pancakes in literal existence today. Um, I don't know what possessed my mother to make pancakes. She's a fantastic chef, but
Usually,
pancakes not her thing. It's not her wheelhouse. Uh, she decides to not check to see if she's got any ingredients. She's got a budget pancake mix, which is fine if you can mix it properly, but unfortunately, because we're in the middle of a kitchen runner right now, any sort of I don't know what you call it, mixing ingredients bar, like one little whisk, was available. Anyway, what resulted was this brown congealed mess that you had to eat. It was somehow both undercooked and tasted like sawdust. I don't know how, but it was weird. The whole thing is really weird. Just been a really ass backwards day. That's why we're here.
but anyways, let's move on to wrestling. What this is actually about.
Oh, well, see, I thought you would want to know why we're both here. Anyway, since you asked so very nicely, recent returnee and man who got me free fried chicken, Carlito, always knew he'd be back in the WWE ring. Just a matter of time. Speaking on the Ringers Cheap Heat podcast, Carlito said, quote, I just had this feeling I would be back somehow. I don't know how. The reason it took so long is, I think, miscommunication between both sides. They thought I had heat with them. They thought they had heat with me. Basically, we didn't communicate. Sometimes time goes by. You see things in a different way. I always had love for WWE. I always wanted to be in WWE. I just needed a break. I didn't need a 13-year break. Ben, if Carlito didn't take that break, would he have been a bigger star than he is now? Or is this a case like McIntyre where he needed to go extend his wings and fly?
I think he needed to go and extend his wings. I think if he had stayed, he would have been stuck in, that mid card Dolph Ziggler, the Miz spot that's just putting guys over.
The thing I wonder about Carlito, though, is because I don't see him on a ring general level like I do Dolph Ziggler, and he's not as good of a talker as the Miz. I'm wondering if he could have been on his way out if he didn't ask for his release anyway.
Because it's very possible.
Really, he was in the middle of the Colognes with Primo and Epico when he was first there.
Yeah, that's true.
That being said, he looks ripped now.
Absolutely does.
But I don't think we've seen enough of him to know whether or not the time away was warranted or whether he could have morphed into whatever he's going to be. That's just my opinion of things when Carlito. Anyway, that being said, it's time for the speed round. So this is a bunch of news as fast as we can. Nick Aldis debuts as WWE SmackDown GM. Ben, your thoughts on the man who got zero fanfare from the SmackDown crowd?
I think just a lot of people, probably at least WWE fans, don't really know who Nick Aldis is. I know who Nick Aldis is. I know he has a fair bit of heat here and there from people.
He's done a lot of stuff in Impact.
With how he's showing up in WWE and taking on a SmackDown general managerial role, I'm hoping that good things come out of it. I actually kind of like some of the things he done and really dislike one of the things he done.
See, for me, I understand why he got zero fanfare. It's what you said. I am hoping that you can have him in an environment where his backstage attitude can be kept in check.
Yeah.
And truth be told, heat on me if I must, I don't like the idea of Adam Pearce just having one brand. He was coming into his own over the last 6 months. I started to really enjoy this neutral GM that just wanted order in a sea of chaos. The only thing that I see about this whole GM angle working, whether it's Aldis and Adam Pearce or just Adam Pearce itself, make everybody subservient to the general manager. Make the bloodline have to get approval. Make the Judgment Day have to get approval. Anything relating to that, because that's how you have the illusion of authority. Make sure it's being taken seriously.
You need an Adam Pearce shirt, apparently.
I do. I really do. I like the guy. Logan Paul is coming after Rey Mysterio's U.S. Championship. Would you like to see the megastar take the U.S. belt?
I would love to see LA Knight take the U.S. belt.
Yeah, no, they're not talking LA Knight.
You said megastar.
Yeah,
that's what.
But see, the megastar Logan Paul, like, what
I thought he was the Maverick.
Well, to be honest with you, I don't really know. All I know is Logan Paul is too damn good for his own damn good. Like, seriously, bro.
So the megastar. That's what LA Knight's been going by.
Fine. You can have LA Knight take Rey Mysterio's belt for all I care.
Okay, we can take Romans too.
Please. At least if he took Romans, we'd know he'd be there every day. That being said, though, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see Logan Paul take Rey Mysterio's U.S. belt. No disrespect to Logan Paul, but if he's not going to be there, we already have one champion who doesn't show up. Take that one, for the love of God. It'd be way more fun. But when it comes to Rey Mysterio, the U.S. Championship, aka the guy who's actually there and doing something, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Kofi Kingston says Big E is close to 100%. Ben, realistically, do you think he'll ever wrestle again?
I don't think he will. There's been a lot of word from, or at least that, from doctors and that he's gotten that been released saying that he should never wrestle again. And this is kind of akin to the whole Bryan Danielson, Edge, Saraya situation, but I think it's on a more severe level, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doctors who are saying that it's okay to wrestle.
Yeah, there are many people advising him never to do it again.
That being said, honestly, whatever he wants is the way I think.
If he can get cleared,
yeah. I would love to see him in a ring again. I don't think it's going to happen, and I don't want it to happen.
I would love to see him even just like manage the New Day.
Well, even if you do that, yeah, you'd have him on screen. You'd have about 70% of what people like about him there ready to go, because a lot of Big E's reason that he's over is Big E.
Yeah.
That's what makes the New Day work for me. It feels like Kofi, Xavier, Big E turned up to 11, which is what all great characters are.
Yeah.
KO traded to SmackDown. Ben, what are your initial thoughts?
Initial thoughts are, oh, Kevin Owens is on. Kevin Owens was traded to SmackDown. What about Sammy?
I looked at it from a completely different perspective. This is why we can't have nice things.
I honestly see the appeal in having Kevin Owens on SmackDown and kind of see why they got rid of Jey Uso, who was actually doing good for them, being a big draw for SmackDown. They need somebody who's at least as big as of a draw as Jey Uso was. So Kevin Owens makes complete sense. If it wasn't Kevin Owens, who's the other option? Sami Zayn?
Cody Rhodes.
But they don't want to do that right now because that would be too soon. And who's Roman going to feud with after LA Knight, unfortunately?
Who cares? That's my
Yeah, I know. LA Knight needs to win.
He does. He won't, but he does.
Which is, I can see why they have KO over on SmackDown now.
I can see why, but I don't know. I just think it's such a novel concept that we get two guys who are friends, both kayfabe and IRL, who just like to beat the snot out of things.
Yeah.
Now we can't have that because you had to take Kevin Owens away from Sami Zayn, and you know that if you made the trade for Sami Zayn to go, that quite frankly, people would just want to see Sami Zayn take the belt from Roman Reigns anyway.
Well, people want to see Kevin Owens take the belt at this point, anyways.
Yeah, anyone you could have Stu from
Commentary.
You could have Stu from the production team. You could have actually Pat McAfee.
No,
people would take Pat McAfee.
Stu from commentary.
Oh, maybe.
Stu Bennett.
Maybe. He would be one of those things where I'm afraid I'd have some bad news if he were not.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. Yeah. Let's go Stu Bennett. Won't happen. Dom Mysterio says he looks too good for a face tattoo. Ben, would the crowd love Dom more with a face tattoo?
No.
See, I don't believe the crowd could love Dom anymore. He gets the biggest reactions out of everybody, and it's definitely not messed with microphone or commentary or anything. In all due respect, I just saw that online. I'm like, oh my God, we have to talk about it. I don't know why people would ever ask Dominic Mysterio about having a face tattoo.
They were probably asking about the teardrop he had at one point, if he was going to get it for real or that.
But at the same time.
Yeah.
NXT Mania, as it was referred to internally, drew more than AEW Dynamite. Tony Khan releases a Twitter tirade about how Cena, Taker, etc. couldn't draw 1 million views. Is it time to take Tony's toys away?
No, I think he's just bitter about his birthday. He just everyone needs a little bit of a tirade now and then. How often do you go on one?
Once every week.
At minimum.
It's not going to be this week, though. Not on podcasting.
No, not on podcast.
But no, here's the thing. I don't have $1 billion company. I haven't invested hundreds of millions into getting together a viable competitor to the WWE.
Yeah, but here's the thing. He has $1 billion company. He is a viable competitor to WWE.
And he behaves like that.
It's competition. Competition brings out the worst in people. It also brings out the best, but
I can understand competition bringing out the best and worst in people, but this isn't the first time Tony Khan has taken to Twitter to voice his frustrations that he lost.
No, but I think it's hilarious.
That being said, it is true what he said. The first time ever that John Cena, The Undertaker, drew less than 1 million people. Because they did. NXT was a 0.9. Now it's time for my favorite segments and something I have been excited to bring back in podcast form. There was enough news that I could do it. The news nobody cares about.
Oh, the segment I created. That
yes. We
loved so much.
That we took and but it's the news nobody cares about. So Vladimir Kozlov makes his debut for Impact Wrestling as Brutus. Kozlov looks great, but will he amount to anything?
No.
I didn't think so either. But hey, before we go on,
does anybody in Impact really amount to anything?
Josh Alexander, and their women's division can be really good.
But does that count anywhere outside of Impact?
Josh Alexander does in the hardcore scene.
Well, then
the women,
it's an anomaly, right?
The women, if you take a look at people like, say, Mickie James or Awesome Kong or anything that can break away from the Impact zeitgeist, will have a proverbial impact anywhere they go.
There are very few people who make a big name in Impact if they hadn't already had somewhat of a name before. AJ Styles, Samoa Joe are basically two of them. And, well, it doesn't happen often, but when it happens, the talent is really undeniable.
And the thing is, Impact is really, really good at being able to find something that a talent can do, find a talent's niche. One thing that I absolutely hated that Impact did, but
neuter Eli Drake.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Neuter Eli Drake, but Eli Drake got most of what he became in Impact Wrestling.
Yeah, but everything that he
And then
started
they
to
screwed
become
up.
in Impact Wrestling, they cut
Yeah.
basically from his character.
Yeah.
They weren't allowing him to be himself and all that, which was really messed up. And like, how do you do that to somebody who's getting over organically? I mean,
It
WWE's
comes
done
from
it
the
a lot.
WWE playbook. But what is your most divisive wrestling take, Ben?
My most divisive wrestling take?
Yeah.
Oh, that's probably that the Montreal Screwjob was good.
Hey, mine too. But here's the thing: is it going to be as divisive as a couple of lovely takes I have here from Ric Flair for the past week? Because
probably
Insight
not.
with Chris Van Vliet gave Ric Flair a microphone.
According to Danhausen, it's Chris Van Vliet.
So, oh God in hell. Ric Flair is the equivalent of Old Man Yells at Cloud. Speaking with Chris Van Vliet, thinks that people should listen more to the people who know in Gorilla and less to the fans. To an extent, I get what he's saying, but that also means that people in Gorilla need to listen to their audience if the wrestler isn't going to.
Yeah.
Because what he's basically saying is social media killed wrestling. And it's true. It revolutionized it in a way in which it will never be as popular as the Roaring 80s or the Attitude Era ever again.
Yeah.
But that being said, if you have somebody like a Vince McMahon in his later years who ignores the cries of fans for people like Bryan Danielson, LA Knight, Sami Zayn, that go for months upon months upon months, you have a problem.
It comes down to you have to listen to the fans, otherwise you're not going to have any fans.
Well, that's just it. If the people
eventually
in Gorilla actually kept their finger on the pulse, I would have no issue with what Ric Flair is saying here. That being said, it gets worse. It gets so much worse. Ric Flair thinks Charlotte Flair's 17th title reign is the biggest thing WWE could do right now.
I think the biggest thing WWE could do right now is fire Charlotte Flair.
That would be big. She's at 14.
I'm really tired of Charlotte Flair.
So the biggest thing they can do is just
give her. And actually, I don't think she's actually at 14 because they're not counting her NXT reigns anymore.
Oh, they're not.
Last I heard, they weren't.
Okay, so she's way off.
Yeah, she's only at like what 11.
I don't know, but look, 17 is just 17 is an unreachable number. Okay.
No, that's not true. She wins it like every 2 months and then drops it like a week later, doesn't she?
No,
it's pretty.
She wins, reachable. She wins it. People get exhausted with her. She is forced to drop it. She throws a tirade and goes home. Then she comes back and is given the title. Charlotte Flair is basically the Eric Cartman of the WWE, and it makes me sick. Because Cartman...
That's not true. Cartman's actually somewhat tolerable.
Well, that's true. But I mean...
And I say that as someone who is not a fan of South Park.
But seriously, though, Eric Cartman, as a character, if you bundle it up and make it a woman, it's Charlotte Flair.
I'm pretty sure they've done that.
Except for the fact that Cartman somehow is redeemable in his evil, and I don't know how.
Whatever, he does what he wants.
Whatever, I do what I want.
See?
Speaking of people who do what they want, Ric Flair...
No, I'm not playing music computer. You can shut up now.
Ric Flair believes Charlotte Flair and Sasha Banks remind him of Ric Flair versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. In what universe?
So the Ric Flair in his head universe, I'm guessing.
That's still a thing. I thought the Ric Flair universe just had giant signs that said space for rent.
Unfortunately, no, with all these delusions.
And like the odd cockroach just like coming out of the hood. Anyway, that being said, it's time for Wrestling Weekly, our least favorite wrestling segment for the week. Ben, I'm not sure if you have one.
I do.
Okay. Well, I will let you take it away.
Okay, so my segment this week, it was going to be one, but it's going to be another. It's Charlotte Flair getting another title match. Now, originally, my Wrestling Weekly was going to be Charlotte Flair running out and saving, who was that? Asuka? Because she's not a babyface. Nobody wants to see
Nobody
her.
buys it.
Nobody wants to see Charlotte versus Damage Control again. Nobody wants to see Charlotte go for another title. And then she got handed a title match.
Yeah.
This is the only issue I have with Nick Aldis so far.
Yeah.
He said things are going to be done differently, and Charlotte Flair is getting a title match. That's not different. That's the same old shit.
Oh my god. So mine is actually a little bit different. John Cena acknowledging Roman Reigns, and WWE acknowledging the John Cena acknowledged Roman Reigns is my weakest segment, because here's the thing: you don't know how long you're going to have John Cena. Fair. But unless John Cena is going to turn heel, which he won't, and unless you've got plans for LA Knight to go up against John Cena, which you don't.
You don't know that.
Why would you bother doing that shit? And quite frankly, we got to a point where LA Knight didn't need the John Cena rub. And he comes out, and it's boring Reigns pandering bullshit. And we're getting it week after week after week after week. But now at least Roman's there.
Now, the unfortunate part about that is also Roman's there.
Yeah. So now it's just going to get worse.
So did Paul Heyman look different to you this week?
He looked a little grayer, yeah.
Actually, he looked a little less gray.
In any case, like, it's one of those things. Is Paul Heyman slowly turning into... I can't figure out if it's Ric Flair because of the cut or Santa because of the big bushy cheeks.
So I think when Roman's not there, he looks very disheveled and taken aback, and like nothing can go right. But when Roman's there, he gets more prim, proper, and can actually
relax, because he's not
having to deal with everything.
Yeah, but see, that would just be a character.
But seriously,
and when Roman Reigns,
go and look at it, like he looked hella distressed the week before and very gray. And I'm pretty sure there was a bit of a dye job or at least spray on for his hair this past week.
Yeah, fair enough. That being said, I'm not even going to argue my point because you got a good one.
Yeah.
Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair being...
Stay tuned next week. Stay tuned for next week when I also put Charlotte Flair on the chopping block again, probably.
Are you going to put Charlotte Flair on the chopping block for Wrestling Weekly like every week from now on?
No, it depends what Nia Jax does on Monday.
That's true too. She was muted this last week and it was almost tolerable.
See, I couldn't put anything she done this past week because I went to the bathroom during that time, so I didn't see it.
Oh, and how was the shit? Was it better than Charlotte Flair? Or
oh no, I showered.
Okay, how was the shower? Better than Charlotte Flair? Okay. So yeah, no, that makes sense actually. Finally, we got Bryan Danielson believes he will not wrestle at 100% ever again. Speaking on Sports Nightly, Bryan detailed his arm's recovery, saying, quote, "It's doing okay. I think by continuing wrestling on it, I'm slowing down from healing 100%. Bryan Danielson also said, us older wrestlers like to say, we never anticipated being 100% ever again. So I think that's where I'm at. It's fully functional. I could do pull-ups and I could do all these different sorts of things. The most dangerous thing for Danielson now is that if he were to re-injure that arm, it's going to worsen the damages to his nerves. Ben, I think you and I have a healthy respect for Danielson.
Yeah.
But was the AEW New Japan Pro Wrestling Forbidden Door match worth it? He wrestled for 10 minutes with a broken arm.
If he thinks it was worth it, I think it was worth it.
What I'm worried about with this style, especially for Danielson, because I have a lot of deep-seated respect for Bryan Danielson. I hope and I pray that he can live a long, fruitful, happy life. He deserves that. And I worry that if he's going to continue to do stuff like this, that's going to be a lesser and lesser and lesser chance.
Yeah.
But anyone who knows me knows I've got the healthiest amount of respect for Shawn Michaels, but a close second to that is Bryan Danielson. And I just sincerely hope that he's able to continue to do what he loves and be there for his kids and for his family and Bree and what have you.
Yeah.
That being said, it's time for our main topic, which is Ari Emanuel removes Vince McMahon from WWE Creative. The feeling being is that Vince will be very much a figurehead, as Triple H was knighted by Endeavor as the main creative force for the WWE going forward. Though fans are already noticing changes. Ben, if you're anything like me, you're relishing this change. But the question becomes, what changes can you see being implemented, and will Vinnie Mac ever come back?
Okay, as for the second part, you never really know. As for the first part, I think you're going to see a lot more of that indie style wrestling from like NXT before it went to 2.0. Many years ago when it was under Triple H's regime. I think you're going to see people get pushes that, aren't necessarily the WWE type from when Vince was in charge. And I think it's just overall going to be a more well-rounded story of a show with intertwining storylines and actually just better overall characters.
I think we're going to get a back to basics approach, because a lot of what Vince McMahon did, particularly in his later years, were last minute script rewrites. Everybody was walking around on eggshells. Didn't matter where you went or how big of a WWE apologist you had doing the news. That was always seeming to be the norm. And like now, I think you're going to have plans to do long-term storytelling.
It's just
more
so much better.
effectively. Yeah, more effectively anyway. We're not going to get something like the Bloodline where layers upon layers are added at the last minute.
Yeah, are we out of the bottom of the third yet?
God, no, I don't think so.
I fucking
You know what? We missed the all-important Roman eats popcorn arc. So they're going to go back and revisit that. That's going to lead them.
No, I'm pretty sure we've seen that.
Did we see that last week?
I don't think we've seen it last week, but I believe we've seen it.
But see, no, that was just planting the seeds for the arc. Because what's going to happen is 4 months down the line, Roman Reigns is going to cough on his popcorn.
Oh.
And realistically, what's going to happen after that is you're going to find out that the popcorn was sabotaged. Roman has to go off, and the bloodline has to contain its melodrama while also looking for what sabotaged its tribal chief. What is the end? We don't know.
Let me guess, he's going to keep the title the whole time?
Absolutely. Now, the title's not going to be on the line in anything, because it's going to find out that the ultimate popcorn sabotage was for Nia Jax, who oversaw Paul Heyman talking with Rhea Ripley on Raw. Now, Rhea Ripley and the Judgment Day are a threat to the bloodline. That's the way Roman's going to see it. So, but what really happened was Nia Jax wanted to poison Rhea Ripley's popcorn, because we all know Dom Mysterio is her MVP.
I think we're getting a little off topic.
And then what's going to happen is Roman Reigns is going to eat that popcorn, become poisoned. So it's going to be Nia Jax's fault, but she's going to be remorseful of it and also join the bloodline because of her lineage to The Rock. That way, the bloodline can dominate both men's and women's storylines.
Did you notice that when Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns came out, Paul Heyman didn't have 2 belts on his shoulder?
It was great.
That's like the first time since the whole incident where they said that Triple H was fully in charge of creative. Basically?
Yeah, I think so. In any case, it was really
Finally,
nice.
no 3 belts that he doesn't deserve.
Oh, you never know. It could always come
Just
back.
has the one that he doesn't deserve.
Well, you never know. It could always come back.
No.
We hope.
No,
But it probably. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that's all I got, unless you got something.
That's all I got.
Alrighty. Then thank you so much for listening to the DGen podcast. Let us know if you like this setup better than our other one, and we will see you guys next week.
See you next week. If I can figure out how to end this.
Yeah, it's that little button.